Already making a suspension taking place here at the moment, just as that policy address started off. That's one thing, that's a symptom, but what are the underlying causes? What does she need to do and pull out of the hat to actually address those underlying causes? And those underlying causes will take years to actually sort out, one would have thought.
Too little too late, isn't it? If we're talking about housing here in Hong Kong as being one of the key drivers of the political noise that we've seen in the last few months or so, it's really too little too late. I mean, realistically, I doubt there's a great deal that can be done from the Legislative Council that will necessarily placate the people on the streets right now. I think it's sort of gone out of hand. Problem with that, of course, is that we're then left in this environment where this is sort of an ongoing source of tension here in Hong Kong. Very little I don't think the authorities can do right now unless there is some sort of dialogue more at, at the level of the protesters and the Legislative Council. But
it's going to be hitting people in their wallets. It's going to be hitting people with jobs. It already is. And that's only going to exacerbate the problem.
Yeah, the interesting thing from 5 years ago, and I was here then, I know you were here then as well, 5 years ago there was a lot of pushback from small business owners, taxi drivers, those that were getting hit in the pocket. You could, as the Legislative Council or even as Beijing at that time, you just sort of rode it out because you knew that there was so much popular opposition eventually because people were getting hit in the pocket that they turned against the protesters. That hasn't happened this time around. So there does look to be a little bit more broader support generally in Hong Kong for what's going on in terms of the protests here. So slightly different in 2019 to what we saw in 2014.
Yeah, absolutely.
But still, same impact, which is that Hong Kong eventually, as a global city, obviously gets undermined somewhat by this.
Reputational damage, that's the case here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how do you turn that around? That's going to be the challenge when we get to a point where who knows what the end game is, really.
That's the problem. And it's the uncertainty, of course, that if you are a global corporate, if you're a global bank, if you're a global legal firm, you look at Hong Kong, and you've looked at Hong Kong historically as being, the center point of the APAC region, maybe not so much anymore. So obviously there's a double, triple whammies here in terms of implications.